Hey everybody, this is KD and it's Sunday, and welcome to another episode of Girl on Fire. Today I have with me lesbian romance author Jess Wilburn.
How's it going? Hi, KD.
Good. It's going pretty good.
Excited to talk to you. Like, you've always been one of my favorite authors, and then
oh, stop.
Actually, I'm serious, girl. I'm serious. And then actually, getting to know you more on Twitter. It's this is like the culmination of where I ever saw my career going is being able to have a one-on-one conversation with you.
I'm flattered. I am very flattered. Okay, but now let's see how you do with the hot sauce, though.
All right. Oh, God.
So, as everybody knows, I changed my format, and we do the sauce first. So, this week, we have small axe peppers, ghost peppers hot sauce.
Yep.
And I can't remember who sent this to me, but thanks. I'm sure you'll put a note on Facebook or Twitter to let me know who did it.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. So sorry I wasn't able to give you the shout out. Okay, but this
my
is
buddy over there, and he's like, "Did you try it yet? Did you try it yet?"
No.
I haven't tried it
This
yet.
has ghost peppers and habaneros. It has powder in it, which can make it actually a lot harder because that means the peppers have been dehydrated and made into powder. So I guess we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. If I die, you got to call an ambulance. If I die, he's going to call an ambulance,
okay.
So we're good.
I got my little cup here. It has
you got a Coke? Oh, God.
My little shot glass.
Oh, I see. I've just got, I'm doing it old school. Got it on a...
There you go. Okay, it smells tomatoey.
I was going to say,
vinegar.
It doesn't smell hot, but I feel like that's how they get you.
Yeah, it smells like a tomato and vinegar more than anything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a thick sauce. You can see some of the pepper seeds in there.
Yeah, you can definitely. It's very thick, thicker than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Are you just taking a whole shot of?
It's just a little bit. It's just a little bit.
Because I've got a chicken nugget, so maybe I should just dip it and lick it, as we do, as we do.
I don't even do a teaspoon.
Oh, okay.
So not anymore anyway. I learned my lesson.
Oh, Lord. All right.
Okay, everybody pray for us. We'll see. Okay.
All right. Oh, God.
Ooh. That has some good.
Yeah. That's actually pretty good.
That's very tasty for a tomato-based sauce.
Yeah, it is.
It has a little sting to it.
Yeah.
It has a residual burn,
but
it goes away fairly quickly.
Yeah, it does. That's not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, for a 5-alarm sauce, that's not bad.
It's pretty good. It doesn't taste like it's got a lot of frills to it.
He says, so, fun fact, my buddy, the one I'm at his house right now, he's a hot sauce connoisseur.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, do you want me to break out the Reaper pepper sauce if that's not hot enough?" Nope, I'm all right.
Ask him what kind of Reaper pepper sauce does he have?
Oh my God, what she wants to know what kind of Reaper pepper sauce you have.
It's made by a guy here in Wilburn.
Oh, it's a local kind of sauce.
Okay, and
literally it's just pure Reaper mixed with carrots and onions.
Is that it's pure Reaper pepper mixed with a puree of carrot and onion.
That sounds nasty.
It's not that bad.
That doesn't sound like it would taste good.
No.
So he just does it just for the heat, huh?
No, he really does. So fun fact, he almost died. What was it, yesterday?
2 days ago.
2 days ago, because he does this hot chip challenge, and it was a Carolina Reaper chip. And he, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, though. Oh, my God.
He's trying to make you...
It's too much. Okay.
He's trying to make you do the Reaper thing?
He's doing it. Okay, so he really wants me to die. So that's the Reaper sauce.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
You better have some milk for that.
That tastes like ass, for the record.
That's what I'm saying. That sounds disgusting. It doesn't have anything in it.
It wasn't enough. I licked it right off and did nothing. Don't look at me like that. Nope. He's really trying to kill me, Katie.
Trust me, I can put you down one way or another.
Yeah.
You're not feeling anything yet?
Yeah, no, my tongue is burning, but it's really not. Actually, my nose is running like crazy.
Okay, because sometimes it's a slow build and it'll get you later.
A little bit more? You want to try it?
Hold on. All right. I'm gonna actually like go big.
Oh.
With the ghost pepper one. All right.
It has some good flavor too. You know, you can put it in like ketchup to make the ketchup kind of spicy since it's tomato based. And like any tomato based soup or stew, that would be good. Or even on pizza too. Are you okay?
Oh shit! There it is. Oh god.
Drink your milk.
Okay, that was.
Okay, I'm going to have to put some sound effects right there just because of that.
Holy mother of shit.
It's the ghost pepper on top of the Reaper, on top of more ghost pepper. I'm glad I'm not you.
Yep. Oh, fuck.
Yep.
All right, let's do this.
Okay. You need some more milk?
Yep. Oh, God, I licked it. The tip of my tongue is on fire.
Pro tip, when we get done, you may want to do an antacid to keep yourself from having stomach cramps later.
Oh, I gotta wipe my eyes off.
Oh, as you can see, everybody, it's not a good idea to put Reaper and ghost peppers together. And she's paying for it a little bit. It's hilarious, but I feel a little bit sorry for you, but it's still funny. Oh,
that's what it was.
This one, I'm going to use this one. This is good. This would be good on eggs too. Burritos. Yep. So, okay. Now, okay. So tell us about this book that you have coming out in February from Bolstroke Books.
All right. So my book is called A Far Better Thing. And Jesus Christ. I fucked up so bad. So for those of y'all who don't get the reference, it's a line taken from Charles Dickens' novel, A Tale of Two Things, A Tale of Two Cities. Yeah. And there's a line in there where he says, it's a far better thing that I do now than I've ever done, and a far better rest I go to. And if you've read that book and you know where that quote is from, then you can kind of get an idea of where the book goes. Maybe not necessarily where it starts, the middle, but you can definitely have an idea of where it goes. Obviously,
well, Charles Dickens is like the king of angst.
Right. He's beautiful.
So, are you saying your book is very angsty?
Very much so. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Very much so, and even more so at the end, because it does lead into a sequel. So, so for those of y'all that read it, don't give up hope. I will say that. You're gonna want to, but don't. Understand there is a second part of the novel, but full of angst, and it's not the type of book that gets less angsty as it goes on.
Okay.
it actually like it builds to the climax, and then that's where it plateaus up to the top.
Okay.
And then it's a very sudden stop, because as I said, it does lead
It has
into
a sequel. Okay.
Right. So
tell us about the characters.
well, the two main characters are Bo and Cass. Bo is a police detective with Galveston Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that I ever actually say how long she's been on the force, but the clues are definitely there that she's been around a while.
Mm-hmm.
She is described as a cop's cop, very by the book, very black and white, good is good, bad is bad.
Mm-hmm.
And as the story progresses a little bit, we realize that Bo is not quite as straight line as she seems.
Oh.
Yes, she's not quite as straight line as she seems. There's definitely some hidden aspects of her
Mm-hmm.
that are, how do I say this, that's basically a foothold for Cass to grab onto. So Cass, I wouldn't necessarily say she's the antagonist, because she is the love interest, but she definitely starts as the antagonist.
Okay.
She is the second in command worldwide of a motorcycle gang, which I don't know if it's prevalent where you are, but I know it certainly is down here, the Banditos.
I've never heard of them. No.
The Banditos actually are a worldwide gang. Here in recent times, they haven't been as prevalent. I've heard, obviously, there's a lot of rumors about why, but it's just one of those things, you know, they're not as prevalent as they used to be. I feel like a lot of that is because just biker gangs in general might not be as prevalent as they used to be. But there was a time when they were a force to be reckoned with. And this book kind of brings them back to that, think Sons of Anarchy type thing.
Oh.
Yeah. Think Sons of Anarchy. And Cass is the second in command worldwide. So it's very, very structured. For any of you that have seen Sons of Anarchy, it very, very similar. You have local branches, and then you have the worldwide leaders. And fun fact, the Banditos was actually founded in Texas. So they are extremely prevalent down here, extremely prevalent. The two gangs that are mentioned in the book are actual gangs, though the people are not. To my knowledge, anyway. That's one of those, you know, as far as I know, none of these are based on real people.
So did you do a lot of research to get information?
Yes and no. A lot of it, having grown up in this world of cops and robbers, for lack of better terms, a lot of it I already knew. Like I said, the Banditos are very prevalent down here. And so anybody that rides a bike, which I do, anybody that rides a bike, you just kind of know. You understand the terms and agreements that the Banditos have laid out. For example, at least this was a few years ago, but my nose is running so bad. Like it's a few years ago, a couple of friends and I had talked about starting our own club, like just a club of friends. But somebody I knew that was very close to the president of the Banditos down here actually told us, if you do that, understand that you actually have to go through the Banditos to do that, because they're the ones that are in charge of club chapters around here. Like they're the ones that set everything up. Wow. So they're very prevalent in the biker world, at least. And while nothing in the book is based on real life, to my knowledge, it certainly is based on rumors, innuendos, the fact that they do identify as a 1% gang. And I mean, you can literally Google them, and the first thing you pull up is a shootout in Waco. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, no, they're very, very dangerous men, and
So
they
you have
are,
a cop and a criminal, pretty much.
yes, and not even just a criminal, the criminal,
Yes.
the
Oh,
criminal.
this is okay.
Yes,
Okay.
the criminal, and that is a very big point. Is that the banditos are men only, and it is a
Oh.
point that it's brought up a couple times that Cass is actually the only female bandito in existence, because any other woman in the banditos is given the title of property. Basically, you are property of a bandito.
Oh.
And so it's kind of, it never really blatantly goes into what she had to do to get to where she was.
Mm-hmm.
But by the end of it, if you're a reader that can read between the lines, it's very clear what she had to do to get to where she was.
Obviously, something big to go
Yes.
up in those ranks. Yeah.
Right. It becomes very clear, and it once I start delving a little bit more into Cass's backstory, you can see how big of a part it played and who she is now and the decisions that she's making now. And obviously, like I said, she's not the antagonist, but she definitely starts out that way. Her goal from the beginning of the book is to bring the detective down, to get her kicked off the investigation so that the banditos can have their own people, push everything under the rugs, and so it's very much a cat and mouse game. And if I remember correctly, I don't remember if this line got taken out. I hope it didn't. I can't remember now. But there is a line where Cass is actually kind of flirting with the detective, and she literally says, "You can't tell me you don't like this cat and mouse game that we have going on." So it
kind of puts it right out there.
Right out there in the open. Absolutely. It's very much, every time the detective gets a foothold, Cass has something else that she's like, okay, but is it really what you think it is? And that it really starts messing with her mind, and she begins questioning pretty much everything. And that was really the point of it, is to, at the end of it, have the reader questioning the justice system as it's laid out as in black and white.
Well, we know it's crap. So.
Right, exactly. And that was really where I wanted to come. Like, when I first started writing this book, I wanted to come, I was coming from a point of, I want you to fall in love with the bad guy. That was my intention the whole time. And so that's
interesting. You don't see that done a lot in our genre. You don't see that a lot.
No.
I mean,
And it's, and Cass, one of my main goals in the book was that Cass never lost her fire. She was never a bad guy that, oh, I've changed my ways and I regret everything I did. I'm a bad person.
I'm this whole different person.
I'm a whole different person. No, she never loses her fire. That was my big thing.
That's good.
She never loses her fire.
Like I was telling Ann Shade, the last week, I was telling her, I said, once an asshole should stay an asshole, but maybe with a little bit of rounded corners.
Right.
But they shouldn't just go from asshole to Pollyanna. I mean,
exactly. And that was actually one of the things that my editor and I bumped heads on, was that she wanted to turn Cass into exactly that. She wanted Cass to change her ways and start viewing what she's doing as wrong. And that's not what was happening. What was happening was Cass was tired of being controlled by someone else, that person being the number one in command. The one that, as you read, you find out really forced her to do the things that she didn't want to do. It's not that she wasn't proud of who she was. It's not that she wasn't going to defend the decisions that she was making. It was that she did not want to have somebody else tell her the decisions that she had to make.
Okay, well, I have to, kudos to you for not changing your character.
Thank you. I
have
appreciate
to,
that.
I've gone through, well, my editors have never told me, like, oh,
Right.
you should probably, I guess at this point they know I'm not going to,
Right.
but
Yeah.
kudos to you for not changing those characters into, I think a lot of readers have gotten upset with me because like, in Between the Lines,
Yeah.
Tanya's father
Mhm.
didn't automatically become he was still a homophobe, and he
He
ended
was still,
as a
yeah.
homophobe.
Yeah.
So there was no meeting
There
of the
was no
minds.
pretty
Yeah.
bow, rainbows and
Yes,
sparkles, happy ending.
exactly. People got
Yes.
upset with me about that I didn't clean that up. But I was
Right.
like, I thought I made it clear that
It's
even
not the
though
kind of book.
yeah, it wasn't. It really wasn't. And I think she
Right.
made her peace with it when she told him, "You're moving out. I'll still take
Yeah.
care of you, but you're
But you're not going
you're
to
not
stay
living
here.
here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that has always bugged me in lesbian fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And really, and in any sort of fiction, it's always bugged me that there's become this standard of everything has to be pretty at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you lose a lot of the real life aspect in
Yes.
there. And that was another thing that I that I wanted to do in writing this book. And it's very unfortunate that I had to make a lot of it prettier than I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Just for marketing's sake.
Mm-hmm.
But there were a few times that I had to put my foot down because I am not the kind of author that writes perfect, pretty, and happy. It's just not who I am. Like the Galveston Island Chronicles, which is this is going to be the first book in the Chronicles. And I call it Chronicles because while the first two books may be connected, the second two books that I have planned out for this, and who knows, other characters may jump to life in the penning of those two books, but they're not really interconnected.
Oh, okay.
It's simply the lives of different Galveston police officers.
Oh, I see. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I like that
and
idea.
So they're all technically related. Like you're going to have a lot of, I want to say it's either this book or the second book, you're going to have somebody from like this book over here that's going to make a guest appearance. And like in this book, you're going to have somebody in this book that makes an appearance that, but they're not connected.
Okay.
And my whole thing, which it's definitely gonna, I feel like, set me apart. At least I kind of hope it does, but not in a bad way. I feel like it's really gonna set me apart in the lesfic world is that my books are not books to read if you want a pretty unicorn sparkles rainbow book. Like, to give you a little spoiler, I really shouldn't be working on this book. I should be working on the second book, but I'm actually working on the third book right now, which it might just end up that I make the third book the second book, and you just have to wait for the continuation of Bo's story. So, but it's called It's Always You, and the beginning of it is based on a story that a friend of mine that actually works at Galveston Police Department told me. And it was a series of like 6 months where shit just hit the fan all over the island, and nobody could really figure out why. It was just going crazy. And she was in the ER with a different person like every other night, and every single time that she was there was a nurse that was always working, even if she wasn't technically supposed to be working. She just happened to be there. Every time my friend came in with somebody that was just like causing havoc and wreaking hell, and then she said it settled down for like a week, and then all of a sudden, and this whole scene is actually pinned out in the book because honestly I couldn't have written it any better. I couldn't have done it. So there were 3 instances. You had a car chase on one end of the island, you had a shootout on the other end of the island, and you had the Coast Guard that was actually they were doing maneuvers. They were practicing maneuvers over the water, and somehow all three of these things came to a culmination in this field. And there's just cop cars going everywhere. There's ambulances. There's a helicopter flying around that nobody really knows why he's there. And then my buddy is just like nonchalantly walking down the road, going away from all of this chaos. And she hears, "How did I fucking know you were involved?" And she turns to look at this house, and sure enough,
the nurse?
It's this nurse.
That is hilarious.
And she says, "It's always you. It's always you." And I like
that.
And I was like, this has to be a book. The whole, like, it has to be a book.
Oh my God, I like that.
Like, and it starts so goofy and funny. Like, the whole beginning is just filled with dumb ass stories that she has told me of things that have just cracked her up at work. And they're all put in there with her permission. Obviously, the names and all that have changed, but I originally meant it. Like, I was like, no, like, I'm not going to torture, maim, or kill anybody in this one. It's going to be fine. And then the more I started on it, the more I worked on it, it became probably one of the darkest books that I've ever started to write. Like, genuinely, I'm telling you guys, like, if you're the type that likes happy-go-lucky unicorns, maybe don't read a J.D. Wilburn book. Like, I do have some happy stories that I'm thinking about penning under a different name. Like, because at this point, I feel like J.D. Wilburn, like, I'm just going to have a brand.
There's nothing wrong with some grit.
Like,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Whenever I would do my writing community hashtags, I would always say, "I kill people." So, like, that's just kind of it. I didn't think it was my thing, but the more I write, like, that's kind of my thing. Like, you just know that somebody's gonna die. And
well, it sounds like you have a lot of action in your books as well.
Oh, they very, very much, yes.
Ooh,
like, I can't really say a lot without giving away the plot of literally anything, but a lot of action, especially in the book that I was telling you about, It's Always You. That one is, holy shit. Like, that one's a lot. But coming to the one that I have coming out in February, A Far Better Thing, it's a lot of investigation. It's a lot of dead ends. It's a lot of, we're getting this, but this is really happening. What is going on? And it ends up with them trying to figure out exactly that. What is going on that we're not seeing?
So it's like a mystery thriller type thing?
Kind of. This one isn't necessarily so much a thriller as maybe the later novels will be. But it's definitely a mystery. If you're really good at figuring out mysteries, I would say that it's pretty obvious. But if you're the type that just reads it just to read and you let the punches come as they come, then I really hope that at the end of it, you're like, holy shit.
Okay. That sounds very interesting.
I hope it is. Yeah. Obviously, I've been working on this same book for probably about 1.5 years now.
Now let me ask you, did you finish it and submit it to Bold Stroke Books, or did you sign a contract first? How did that work for you?
So with this one particularly, actually, I technically finished it a few years ago. And I didn't know anything about the writing world. I didn't know anything about publishing. And I just wrote the book and submitted it. Like, no editing, no nothing. And I was like maybe 22. And I've been writing it since I was like 17, like bits and pieces in there. And like going back and reading that original first draft, which any of you that write books, you never ever do anything with the first draft. Like, it is a first draft for a reason.
That is true.
Yes. For a reason. I did not know that. I submitted it, and then it was denied by every publisher that I tried. And I had this moment where I was like, well, I just suck as an author, obviously. And then I left it alone for a couple years, and then I came back. I could not even get through the first chapter. I was like, this is terrible. No wonder, terrible. And so that's around the time that I actually met Jax, and she was like, well, maybe try to like do a second draft, like
Mm-hmm.
make it better, and then go from there. And that's actually exactly what I did. It took me maybe 3 or 4 months,
Mm-hmm.
and I completely just upheaved it from top to bottom. And then I don't know if you know Charlie Knight, but I submitted it to Charlie Knight for
Mm-hmm.
editing because I wasn't sure if I was going to do traditional publishing or not.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to have at least a solid baseline of editing done.
Mm-hmm.
And once Charlie was done with it, I still wasn't sure that I wanted to do indie publishing, only because I am not that good at getting the word out about my
It's a
own
lot
thing.
of work.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of
And
work.
so I submitted to Bold Strokes, and Radcliffe herself actually called me,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, I love
Well, that
your
must have been
manuscript.
something.
Right?
Like, are you bullshitting
Right?
me? Who
It
is
was
this?
like, she says, is this JD? I said, yes. She says, hey, this is Radcliffe. How's it going? I was like, holy fucking shit. So, because I mean, you know, she's the one that started this. I mean, obviously not started it, but she made Leslie
Made the
what it is.
name for,
We
yeah.
all know who she is. So for her to
Uh-huh.
call me and say, I love your manuscript, I was just like, holy
Wow.
shit. Yeah. So she and I actually went back and forth for about an hour trying to figure out like where we could take the original idea for the novel
Mm-hmm.
and kind of morph it into something that they could actually market, because
Mm-hmm.
the original novel, I had, you know, a piece of this niche, a piece of this one, and a piece of this one,
Mm-hmm.
but there was really nowhere to fit it into, you know,
Mhm.
because it wasn't a happily ever after. As I said, it was really, really dark. There were some plot holes that really needed to be fixed, and she and I went back and forth for about an hour, and I was like, okay, well, I can do this, this, and this with it. And she was like, perfect. If you can do that, I'll send you this contract right now.
Wow.
So yeah, I actually submitted it, and then they sent me the contract once she and I went back and forth.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it was super cool. I really, really wish that I could have kept the ending.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I genuinely, because the ending had to change a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish that I could have kept the original ending. And I can't say what it is, because if I tell you that I changed it, then it's going to spoil the surprise for the second book.
Well, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, so
When I did fun fact,
yes.
in writing Blurred Lines, I had to rewrite that entire book at least 3 or 4 times.
My mouth's not burning anymore. I feel like I'm cheating.
The whole entire book. I had to do it, like redo it 3 or 4 times. It was, and Jove Bell was my editor. She's been my editor for almost all of my books.
I was going to say, I hear really good things about her.
Yeah, she's great. And, she kept saying, I don't feel like the character, Kelly's voice is not right, or Nora's voice is not where it needs to be, or, whatever. And it was just like, okay, so I have to go back and redo it. And I did, if I were able to go back to the original Blurred Lines that I didn't even submit. I mean, Astrid came to me for it. I didn't submit it. So if I don't even have the original file anymore. Right. But it was a whole different animal by the time I got done with it. It was like still had what I wanted in it, exactly what I wanted in it. You know, so I don't feel like the story changed all that much, but it was something about it. It was like, I think the voices were clearer, the characters were clearer. They were more complex, and everything. So yeah.
And that's a lot of what I'm struggling with this one, is that, I went through the editing process with my editor, which Vic Villaciner was my editor, and she put up with my shit. I will tell you that. Like, she put up with my shit, and she did it with grace. She really did. But that was really a lot of a lot of what I was going through. And I think more of it was that I didn't try to try to find a middle ground. I just
It was
took
your
what she said.
baby.
Yeah.
And you wanted your baby to be like your baby. Yeah.
Exactly. Which, like I said, everything, let's say ghost pepper chili. Everything that she said, it made perfect sense, and I understood where she was coming from. But I did go through a lot of that. Like I said, the having to change the ending was the worst part for me. Like I understood why we did it, and it did help me write the sequel because I was stuck in the sequel. And once we went back and changed the ending for the first one, it actually started flowing. Like the plot of it started flowing a lot better. But there were definitely some cuts that were made that I really wish, instead of just accepting them without argument, that I had kind of pushed back and said, okay, how can we keep some of this and then still make it where it needs to be? You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. And I've always been told that if it's something you're adamant about, tell me why you want to keep it. That's what I get asked, you know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'll say, you know, this is part of characterization for me. I mean, for you know, for this character, I don't want it, you know, I feel like this is revealing a certain, you know, part of her or him or whoever, you know, and I think it's integral, you know. So, you know, if I was able to say that, I would say 75% of the time I was able to keep it. And then, you know, I was like, no, but look, and she would say, okay, I hear what you're saying, but look, you have this here, and further that in the book, this is going this doesn't match with this. So you either have to get rid of both things, or, you know, and I was like, okay. So
that's a lot of what Vic did too, was that she was like, you know, you have them laughing here in this scene, but like you're talking about a really, really, really down to earth, critical moment in their changing character. They should not be laughing here. And I'm like, but I really wanted to keep that joke there because it fits their personalities. But like, like I said, she was a champ. She put up with my shit so well. And she did do a lot of that, whereas like, you know, you really don't have anything important happening here. It's just a conversation that they're having. It's not revealing backstory. It's not doing this. It's just them talking. And I was like, exactly. Like they're talking.
Yes. I mean, this new book that I'm working on is very dialogue heavy. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know how that's gonna be taken. You know, I'll guess I'll
love
see
the
at
dialogue.
the end.
Like you do such witty dialogue. I love it. But there's a
lot. I'm like 20,000 words in, and
it's mostly dialogue.
It's a lot. It's not mostly. It's like, you know, I have some exposition here and there, but the story is moved along through dialogue. Or you learn about the characters through that dialogue. So I'll see where it goes, you know, once the real editing process begins, you know, and see how this is gonna fly. I don't know. But
the hot sauce is really good, by the way.
It is. I'm gonna put this in the fridge. It needs to be refrigerated, by the way.
Does it really?
Yeah, it says refrigerate after opening. So okay. What kind of bike do you drive?
I have a Honda Shadow Aero.
I have no idea what that is.
So it's there it is. So it's an old school cruiser. Oh shit. Fuck. It's an old school cruiser style. It's got, you know, the highway pegs. I've got the windshield, the saddlebags, all of that. It is a massive, massive bike. I look so small driving it. I'm sweating. And that was also one of the things that I actually did have to look up, because I found out the Banditos actually only allow people to ride Harleys.
Oh.
So I think originally, like, I had already planned on Cass to ride a Harley to begin with, but finding out that they did only allow Harleys.
Just sweeten the pot, so to speak.
Yeah. But then there's me, and like, I actually don't like Harleys at all. And so having to write somebody that was like a steadfast Harley woman, I'm like,
Well,
I'm very much, like, I very much prefer Hondas.
I wouldn't know the difference if, it had Honda and Harley written on it.
Yeah, no, I
don't know
understand.
anything about bikes.
I have found that there's a very specific, like, subgroup of bikers that are like, no, I only like this style, or I only like this style.
Really?
Like, you'll find people that they don't like cruisers. Like, there's the group of people that they don't like cruisers at all, but they'll drive just about any sports bike. Or alternatively, and man, it comes back and kicks you.
Yes,
like,
it
it's
does.
So good. It comes back and gets you. And then I don't like sports bikes, but I'll drive just about any type of cruiser. And then within those groups, you have the subsects of, no, I will only drive a Honda. I will only drive a Yamaha. I'll only drive a Harley. So it's very, very...
Very eclectic type.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look at that. You almost finished all your milk.
Yeah, I have. And it's not helping at all.
Okay. Well, actually, tomorrow, I'm doing like these special guest spots. And tomorrow I have Chris Bryant.
That name sounds so... It's Kris, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, God, where have I heard that? I think I follow her on Twitter.
Yes, you do. I think you probably do.
I probably do.
Yeah.
So is she a biker?
No, but she's a lesbian author. I don't think she's a biker though. Yeah.
I'm always down. I think I've actually read one of her books. I have one of her books on my Kindle. That's where I know the name. I have one of her books on my Kindle.
I've not read anything. She gave me a couple of ebooks a while back, but I've never had the time to read them. So they're just sitting on my Kindle.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Like, I have so many. God, what book of hers did I read? I don't remember. I'll have to look it up again, but I have so many unread books on my Kindle now.
Yes.
Like,
right?
I have so many, and like, especially like since I'm getting into the lesbian world and I'm meeting like all these authors and they're all coming out with all these books and I want to read all of them and I'm like,
yeah, I'm very picky though. I'm just I'm extremely picky about what I read when I do have the chance.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm picky about like what I read, but I know very quickly whether or not I'm going to finish a book.
Yes. If the first couple of pages are not.
If you can't catch me.
Yes. Okay. Well, on to the next one.
Right. Yeah. And that was a big part of my book was that the opening paragraph, because they tried to get me to change some of it. And I was like, that was one of the things that I put my foot down on was that I said, I'll tweak it a little bit, but it's not going to be like light and airy. It's not going to I am keeping it like, you're going to know straight.
What kind of book you're getting into.
Yeah. Straight as soon as you get in, like as soon, like the first few paragraphs, it's from Beau's point of view. And she's looking at all of the officers that are around her. And like, one of them is talking about cheating on her husband. And another one is like, she points out two officers and she's like, this one smokes weed. This one has an Adderall addiction. This one does that. This one does that. Like, she literally like, straight from the get-go, like, this is going to be one of those kind of books, And it's, my goal in doing that was that I wanted to have those opening few paragraphs that would really just grab you.
Yeah, grab you. I love that. I love that. And you know what? We've 55 minutes.
Hey, there we go.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
I think like a good 20 minutes of that was me dying.
Which I'm telling you, I'm going to put sound effects on. So be prepared for when you see it.
Okay.
It's just going to take me a minute to find the right sound effects. So be prepared.
I can tell you right now though, that was that Reaper sauce. Like, because
it snuck up on you.
Yeah, I just took another, like you saw, another good chunk of the ghost pepper, and it was hot, but it wasn't like, oh my God. That was 100% that dab of Reaper that you made me try. Yeah.
I'm sure it was nasty too, with just carrot and onion. Oh my God.
It actually, I couldn't even taste it. That's why I was like, there's nothing here. But holy mother of God, that was intense.
See, I'm all about flavor. I rather have, I like the heat, but I want flavor.
You gotta have the flavor. Gotta have the flavor. But the book's coming out in February. It's available for pre-order now. From Amazon. It's available for pre-order. I can't list the prices right off the top of my head because I'm gonna put a link. Told me. Okay, I appreciate that.
Okay, no problem.
And if I say this in my bio in the book, but if anybody's ever in Galveston, there is a bar that I mentioned in the book called Jimmy's on the Pier, and they make a drink called the Stingray. It's not super alcoholic. It goes down so smooth. It's really sweet. Like it's so good. And I mention it in the book. And if nobody takes away anything else from that book, like I'm telling you, go to Jimmy's and have a Stingray while you're watching the sun go down, because it's on a pier over the water. Like, I promise you, it will relax you. If nobody takes away anything else from the book, go to Jimmy's and have a Stingray.
That's something.
Right. Yeah, that's something.
Okay. Well, it was great having you here. It was nice to meet you. It was great
talking to you. You too. We've talked for a while on Twitter.
I know, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
You, right?
It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. So,
and I'm more than happy to answer. Like, if anybody has any questions about it or wants any elaboration, I'm more than happy to do a more spoiler alert type
I tell you what,
explanation.
You can just come back in February.
I would love that, actually.
A little bit, maybe what do you know what date is going to be released?
I have no idea. Actually, the only reason, and that's what I meant when I said that I'm kind of out of the loop with Bold Strokes right now, because I don't know where in the process it is. Somebody else actually tagged me in that, I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, that big list of releases coming out next year, and they had me tagged in February.
Oh, okay.
And so I don't know where that information came from, but I want to say I did see something that it's coming out like February in the 20s or something like that.
Okay. Well, we'll get you back a little bit after, so people have had time to read it maybe, and then you can talk more about the book and why you put some things in, and maybe give a lot of spoilers. So
I would love that. Yes.
Okay, we can definitely do that. I would love to squeeze you in. Yeah.
I will say, spoiler alert in regards to sex. Number one, I got some hot ass sex scenes in this book.
Okay, well, see, that's a reason to buy it.
I got some hot ass sex scenes, but I will say that if you are the type of person that you prefer the more feminine kind of characters, that is not Bo. There's definitely some strap-on usage in there. So
there's not enough of that in this.
There's really not, and that's why Bo has probably been one of my favorite characters to write, is because I wrote her as I didn't write her as non-binary because I didn't know that was a thing when I wrote her. But she's very much a non-binary, masculine presenting character, which I love the representation that I get from that. And like I said, there's some hot ass sex scenes. So if for whatever reason that's not your bag, maybe.
Oh, come on now. Well, I know there are a few readers who don't like that, but but the majority,
This is, I really hope this is not going to be like a book that anyone else has ever read. So I definitely came out trying to get as far away from that cookie cutter model as I possibly could.
I
And
think that's always a good thing. Yeah.
And I hope to further that. So I would love to come back. If anybody has any questions, I'd love to be able to answer them.
Well, yeah, definitely you can come back. Thank you. It's
no
been
problem.
fun.
Thank you for inviting me. Absolutely.
Well, you're cool to talk to online. So, you know,
cat a pat on the head for me.
Huh?
Yeah, I said, give your cat a pat on the head for me.
Oh, I don't even know where he is. My other one's been talking to me behind my back the whole time now.
Cats will do that. Absolutely. Cats will do that.
Yes. But
So,
okay, everybody. This week I also have Chris Bryant, and I have another special guest as well. So there's going to be a lot of Girl on Fire this week.
Hell yeah.
Stay tuned and have a good weekend.